What is up, everybody? Evan here. We got Corey here with us today, too. We kind of
Everybody.
hijacked Zach and Rick's clip channel. So from now on, we're going to come on here. We're going to start doing some lives, posting some videos to come on here and help you guys out, close more deals, make more money in the wholesaling space. So glad to be on here. Corey and I are going to go and introduce ourselves on who we are, what we've done. So I'll let Corey kick it off with his story, and then we'll go back to me, and then we'll just get into what we think is the fastest way for you guys to go out here and make $10,000 in the next 30 days.
Yeah, guys. So like Evan said, my name is Corey Whitley, one of the coaches inside of M2M, kind of a familiar face to some of you all around here. Been wholesaling for a little over 4 years now, exclusively through the guidance of Zach and Rick. Did my first deal with them. Now at this point, I've completed hundreds of deals. Been working with Evan for a couple years now at this point. He's a great business partner to have. But, we're on here today. Like Evan said, we kind of hijacked the Flip of Their Clips YouTube channel, turned this into Marketing to Millions YouTube channel. We're going to be on here showing you guys a lot of stuff. In this video, we're going to talk about how to go out and make $10,000 wholesaling real estate within the next 30 days. So we're going to let Evan introduce himself a little bit, and then we're just going to start diving right into this, guys. We're going to share with you some really good information today, talk about a lot of good stuff, and just try to provide some real value for you guys here.
Yeah. So I started back the middle to end of 2022, started working towards it, watching Zach, just YouTube videos after YouTube videos on how to kind of start up, do the same thing here. And I was very persistent. I just kept taking massive action every single day, regardless of how many times I failed, how many jobs I had to quit, so on and so forth, until I started doing deals. From there, it just came down to networking and putting myself in a position to meet new people, implement new strategies. And that's when I met Corey. Corey and I hit it off. Kind of went in on some business deals together, and then we turned into a company. And now we're both, running $100,000 a month operation here. And it's been a journey, but we're here to give you all the insights and everything that we've learned along the way to help push you to doing more deals.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, we're going to start breaking into this. I think Zach might hop on here in a couple minutes, but again, we're going to just start diving into this. We're going to show you guys today how you can go out here, make $10,000 within the next 30 days through wholesaling real estate. This is awesome stuff. You guys can do this, whether you're brand new, or you're a little bit more experienced. You're going to be able to pull some value from this video and what we talk about on here today, guys. So let's just start diving right into it, Evan. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's fine with me. So Corey and I both mutually agreed. We spoke about it a little bit before, but the number one thing that we think that you guys need to be doing on the front end is just get educated.
Right.
Understanding the process behind wholesaling and how it works, some of the lingo, just surrounding yourself with people who kind of do it. That's going to be the number one thing that we tell you guys to do up front.
So one of the most important things you can do by going out and seeking that education from people that have been doing this for, in the case of Rick, 20 plus years, and Zach with multiple years under his belt, having that firsthand account education is going to put you ahead of most people, or just trying to figure this out, or they're just following some videos on YouTube, whatever it may be. If you can get some real education, that's going to put you ahead of the curve, help you to get questions answered, help you to understand, exactly what you're doing. It's just simply going to put you ahead of the game. There's a couple different ways that we recommend on how you can go out and get educated. Let's show it to them, Evan.
Yeah, so the first one is freewholesaling.com. That is an amazing course where you can go in here and start obtaining all the information that you need to start doing deals. You have acquisitions in there, dispositions in there, marketing strategies, scripts, and templates, everything that you would need to go out here and actually start taking action.
Everything's in there, guys. And listen, I'll tell you this, just because it says freewholesaling.com does not mean it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. That is, in my opinion, and I would agree, and most people would probably agree, that's the premier wholesaling course that's available out there. I did my first deals, handfuls of deals, like my first year, strictly through the guidance that I got through freewholesaling.com, and by hopping on these lives and asking Zach and Rick questions every so often. Like sometimes, guys, that's really just all you need is a little bit of guidance and take massive, consistent action. But what do they do, Evan, in the situation that they want a little bit more guidance? Maybe they want to be able to ask some more direct questions one-on-one. What do they kind of do in that sense?
Yeah, we also have another option, which is called Marketing to Millions. Inside of Marketing to Millions, Corey and I have our own system that it was kind of based off Zach and Rick's system. And then the experiences that Corey and I went out here while building our company up.
Right.
And we put all of that and packaged that inside of Marketing to Millions. And inside of there, that contains all of our marketing strategies, our process on following up, which is called the lead management protocol.
I mean, that's like the number one thing there, in my opinion, just the lead management protocol, just knowing how to go out here and actually follow up and work your leads effectively and efficiently. 90% of people who do deals, they don't even have a process for that. They're just winging it every month, month after month. Mm-hmm. We actually show you guys the exact process on how you need to work your leads, how to follow up with them, when to follow up, how often. It's all in there. We call it the lead management protocol. That's something that we put into the program. And people are getting great results just by simply following the strategies that we tell them when it comes to follow-up and outreach. Because let's face it, most of the deals are in the follow-up anyways.
Yeah. And you'll see if you're inside of freewholesaling.com, which I highly recommend joining that if you guys aren't already in there. But you'll see inside of there, there's weekly wins posts that we put about everybody who's inside of M2M that is also doing extremely well.
We had 47 contracts locked up within the community last week. 47 brand new contracts in 1 week. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So we just wanted to tell you guys about some of the options for you to get started. So now we're going to jump into, the fastest ways to make that $10,000 in the next 30 days, or at least give yourself the absolute best fighting chance to do that.
So it's like we need to get a deal, right, Evan? We need to get a deal, get it closed within 30 days so we can get that $10,000 check, reinvest it into some other marketing, keep moving. Whether if this is your first deal or your next deal, these same principles are going to apply. If you are looking to make your next $10,000 within the next 30 days, we're going to break it down for you. Let's talk about it here.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Corey lead it off when it comes to marketing to the right people. What does that all entail, Corey?
So when it comes to marketing to the right people, we're thinking about this space like we're looking to try to get some properties under contract that we can then go out here and assign to our cash buyers. We need to deal exclusively with people who need to sell their property. We don't want to deal so much with people who want to sell their property. Typically, those people, they're going to want above retail. They're going to have a realtor in their pocket. The houses are going to be pristine. There's no real pain, no motivation. They're never going to entertain the discount that's needed for us to make a, actual deal out of this. We need to deal with people that have real financial problems, real personal problems, real condition issues with the house, people who have actual problems going on in their lives that need our solution and they need to sell the property, guys. I want you to understand this. We need to connect with people who need to sell. When we're cutting down on time, we need to get this done within 30 days. That is the most efficient way. Don't spin your wheels dealing with a bunch of people who may want to sell. They may be a qualified seller. We need to cut through all that red tape, get straight to the people who we know on the front end. They have some kind of factor going on in their life, their personal finances, the business, whatever it may be, or their property, something going on that we know on the front end. There's a strong chance that they may need to sell that property, and we want to get our marketing message in front of them. So what are those kind of people? How can we find them? How can we find these types of sellers? Let's break this down a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to give you guys a breakdown on what list you need to be targeting and where you can source those lists or those records so you can go out here and start working those. One of the big ones, which I think Corey and I deem to be one of our top gems that we always go after no matter what market we're in, is going to be the tax delinquent list.
Top one, no matter what.
You can never go wrong with the tax delinquent list here.
But why, though? Explain why. Why is that our preferred pick? What is that tax delinquent flag on this record or this property record? It's in our CRM. What would that indicate to us?
Yeah, so anytime I see somebody that's behind on taxes, now Corey and I usually look for 2+ years, but when we look into these, if they're behind on taxes, we'll look them up, and if they're distressed, right? It mainly means that if they can't pay the taxes, then there must be some sort of financial problem that they're going through.
Right.
So financial distress indicates to me that it's a high chance of them wanting to actually, sell the property if they could.
Right.
So
I mean,
it's
that's
better
just
to,
proven right there on the front. They cannot pay their property taxes.
yeah.
And we all know what happens after a couple years of unpaid property taxes. You lose your home and it goes to the tax auction. So these individuals that are showing up, you reach out to your county, you get your tax delinquent list, whether it's 1 year, 2 year, 3, 4 years behind. Those are individuals that, due to their non-payment of the property taxes, they're willing to risk it all. Literally, they may end up homeless over that unpaid property tax bill. These are situations, and it kind of applies to all of the different, niche lists that we're going to talk about here. But these are all situations where there's a definitive problem and there's a definitive, thing that's going to happen at the end if that problem is not resolved. And in the case of delinquent property taxes, that property is going to either be auctioned or they're going to pay the taxes or sell the property. Something has to happen there. Sitting by idle and doing nothing is not a solution in these situations. But sometimes these sellers, they will just sit by idle, think they have time. Oh, I'll get it called up here in the next couple months. They procrastinate. And what happens is the longer they procrastinate, the bigger that mountain, the bigger that tax bill gets. It's incurring fines and penalties every month that it goes unpaid, guys. So these problems don't go away. It's our job to get our marketing message in front of them and see if we can offer them a solution and truly help them, and then in turn do a good deal on that property. But like Evan said, tax delinquents, by my favorite, Evan's as well, all time. The other ones are good too, but this is one of my all-time favorites. It signals financial distress, and oftentimes you will find other problems lingering in that seller's life or with the property, or both, depending.
Yep, I was just about to say that. Let's move on to the next one here. It's your code violations list. Same kind of idea here. If a property has violations against it, which I'll give you an example, kind of like one Corey and I did last year, that we actually ended up being a really good deal. There was weed abatements against that property.
Right.
So we looked at the property. Yeah, it was on the code violation list. We started looking into it, tried to reach out to the seller, and then we found out that the property was actually in probate. So indications of, one, the property can't be kept up with. They're behind on mortgages, and the person's actually deceased. The children in this case, which were all over the age of 18, wanted to sell the property. So code violations are great for that reason, because it also shows other levels of distress or other situations that sellers might be going through.
So let's talk about like some other situations that you could find with your code violation. So that one there, that example Evan was talking about, it had tall grass code violation liens on the property. They were actually finding these people with recorded liens. And every time they went out there to remow the properties, they just kept adding to that amount, right? So
it was $20,000 in weed abatements.
I've seen cities charge $1,000 per time that they go out there to mow the yard if they mow it for the person. Sometimes they just slap a bunch of fines on you for tall grass and let it rack up, and they never even mow the property. Sometimes they'll send the city crew out there and mow it, and then they charge you an astronomical amount. But what's some other things that we can find from the code violations which can signify good deals? I've found fire damage properties on the code violations list because it will be labeled as a unsafe structure. I've found vacant properties with squatters in them on the code violations list. I found properties with no utilities. So it's got an active code violation for no utilities, and there's squatters inside of there. I've found properties that are heavily distressed and deemed an unsafe structure. You can find all kinds of different situations related to condition with the property, or that property or the owner not following the building code. Those are real problems that come with real fines and real penalties. And oftentimes those people are looking for a solution. Now, we'll talk about this, and I want to go back to the tax delinquency as well. Let's talk about how exactly do we go about getting these lists, and we'll state this for each one moving through. So when it comes to the tax delinquent list, Evan, how do we go about getting that? And then we'll talk about the code violations.
Yeah, so let's just pull it back up here. So you can get it from the county trustee, or you are sometimes able to just access these from the tax assessor sites.
Yeah. Or, I
So,
mean, if you have an XLead subscription, you can pull them on there as well. The tax delinquents on there as well.
yeah.
You're always going to get the freshest data directly from the county. You can get it like the minute they're a year behind, they're considered delinquent. You can get that. Um, like Evan was saying, some counties you have to request it. Some of them have a portal online. You can go online and look these up. And if you're in an area where it's extremely difficult, if you have X leads, you can pull them on there. I mean, it can't be more simpler to get these things sometimes, and it's imperative that you all do.
Yeah. So that's just a couple ways that we can go about obtaining the tax delinquent list. It's really not that difficult. One of the things that's a bonus about being able to go in a portal is you're actually able to filter down a little bit more when you're able to access that site. So it's actually a really good way for you to get these records on the front end if you can with the portal.
Right.
Now, as far as obtaining the code violations list, they sometimes do also have a portal that you can go on and look at. Corey and I have in our market, they actually allow that. But in the event that you can't, you can just go down to your local city or county building code enforcement office and request those records in person. They will have a file of them. They might combat you a little bit, but if you're persistent and respectful, then it's likely that over time they will end up releasing that to you as they are public records.
Right.
I think we got a guest on here.
We got a special guest here, everybody.
We got Mr. Zach Ginn.
There we go. I'm in Miami. I'm like
driving
around you. Right. Oh yeah. What's going on?
What's up?
Not much. Just
we're on here telling the
about
people about some Gov lists.
Awesome. Yeah. So when let everyone know. So this used to be the Clips channel, but Corey and Evan, wanted to kind of do some more like kind of public talking to everyone. So that's kind of removing the Clips channel, calling up Marketing to Millions, and that's where we're at now. So you're gonna start seeing Corey and Evan start dropping some awesome videos, and I'm helping them get some good topics because they're making a lot of money wholesaling, and they're gonna be helping you guys out a lot with it. So code violations, tax delinquencies. You're bigger on tax delinquencies than anybody else probably I've seen.
I love tax delinquencies.
Oh yeah, we love them.
You know that.
So,
I love them.
So I know you like them. You don't even like them fresh. You like them like what, 2 years, 3 years?
2+
You like
years.
them like they're really old.
Yeah. But see, I'll market to somebody even if they're only 1 year behind on the taxes. I just know that once they hit that 2+ year delinquency mark, that's a good indicator of distress, like more distress, more motivation. Because I see it all the time. Somebody will run chronically 1 year behind, and they've just never been able to get out of that hole, but they are maintaining it. That 2+ year behind mark signifies like, hey, this is going downhill rapidly. There's no solution at the end of this journey for them.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What's your favorite list, Zach? You like probates, code violations? What's your favorite?
By far, for any beginner out there, it's always gonna be driving for dollars. Like
Yeah.
And Corey doesn't say too much, but that's literally how he got, not a start, but it was a big start for him.
Yeah.
And it is by far one of my favorite. And
yeah, we'll be talking about that on here tonight because I could not leave out that honorable mention, driving for dollars.
Well, it's. I mean, I don't know how many people you've helped in M2M with this, but it's like if you've done. I don't know one guy that's done 800 driving for dollars leads that called him didn't get a deal. I don't know one guy. 1,000, it's impossible. It's like literally impossible.
Well, this is no joke. Like this is the God's honest truth. There's been days before, over the last couple of years where I was like, I'm going to get a deal today. So I would go out driving for dollars and I would find like the juiciest of juicy houses, get back, start calling them. I remember several times I told myself I'm going to get a deal today. And I had a contract by the end of the day on one of the properties that I literally went out and tagged just that morning. Get home, skip trace them real quick, start calling. Sometimes it's that easy, guys,
Yeah.
Because you're putting your eyes directly on the distress. You see, hey, that property's vacant right there. That house has some serious distress issues going on. And oftentimes, I'll tell you, this is a good little secret. Oftentimes, when you go out here and you find these like abandoned, rundown, or just rough looking houses when you're driving for dollars, oftentimes more than not, you'll go back and find out, well, it's also tax delinquent. Or it's also in pre-foreclosure. Like you'll find records where it has multiple factors like that, and those are going to be just the best ones every time. They have real problems.
Oh yeah, and so the real thing is, people are like, oh, I've tried wholesaling for 2 years, couldn't get a deal. It's like 2 years, is 700 days. Do one drawing for dollars lead a day for 2 years and call
That's
them.
enough to get a deal.
You will. It's guaranteed you will get a deal. That's the
Yeah.
scary part. It's not even that it won't. It's guaranteed. So a lot of people like guaranteed results, right? And that's when, like in M2M, right? We guarantee results because you do so much marketing, it's impossible for you not to get a deal.
Right.
Mhm.
Some serious volume.
That's
Yeah.
like you do so much volume, it doesn't make any fiscal. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So same exact thing. So it's kind of funny though, because I know Evan did a lot of wrestling. I did a lot of wrestling too.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because I like using wrestling for analogies, but there's these kids that you wrestled for 5 years straight and still sucked. Like, still sucked.
I know it.
In wholesaling though, in wholesaling you can't like, it's impossible to suck if you do the amount of marketing and work.
Yeah, it's like you flex that muscle enough times, you're going to be ripped after a period of time.
Oh yeah. So that's just it's kind of funny going on that end, man. But no, the free strategies always work. But I want everyone to know, if you're watching this channel, make sure you, like, the really cool part about starting out, like you guys starting on YouTube, right? You guys are doing really well in your business. And this channel is not as big as obviously my channel, the other channels, right? Because it was just a clips channel for a while.
Right.
People used to beg me. They're like, I wish I used to be the first 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel where you would just answer anyone's questions.
That was whenever I came in, and I'll tell you guys, it was golden. Like, I could get on there, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, but didn't you guys used to do like multiple lives a week on YouTube? Because I remember getting on there several times a week and just asking you guys whatever I had on.
I had 15 people on a live stream. I had on my Facebook group before it got 160,000 people. What I used to do was I used to do a live weekly coaching call with 5 people in a Zoom, because those are the only people that hop on the Facebook group. And it then turned into 10 and then 15. But those original 15 was like about 6 months straight. I worked with all of them. I didn't ask for a dime. They all made 100K. They all made 100K year wholesaling the next year. So take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, like this is for everybody or anybody who's watching this. This is your like direct opportunity to be able to get in, ask Evan and I questions and everything. I mean, we learn from Zach and Rick. It's, you know, it's as good as you're going to get short of talking to them. So, you know, get on here, ask us questions. We'd love to help you guys out. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I don't want to take your thunder, so I'm going to let you guys keep doing your thing there. But
good.
Just letting you guys know that the way that I do wholesaling is like 97% the same as you guys. You guys slightly change a couple things you do, and that is perfectly fine. You guys are probably the closest to me and Rick on wholesaling that I can find, but you don't do it 100% correct. But there's not a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, you guys started out in completely different type of markets, right? So just before I head off here, remember, guys, if you're brand new, his best skill set you'll get from him is virtual wholesaling and acquisitions. That's just my opinion. And Corey is going to be more about systematization. Systematization, and basically going out here and kind of making that plan of what to do, because that's what you're really good. But obviously, you can close sellers better than anybody else too.
Yeah. I mean, once you've been doing it for a while, you get good at kind of all of it. But everybody like has their own little thing that they're really good at.
Yeah. But Evan's really good at giving everyone a system too. So like it's all there. So I'm gonna leave everyone to have questions, but this is gonna be fun. You guys gonna go live every Wednesday on here?
Yeah, that's most likely gonna be the plan here.
Just plan on doing a live every week and a couple different video drops for the week. So we're gonna give you guys a ton of good content. We're gonna give you guys some of the, the sauce. What people always ask me, Corey, what's the secret sauce? Like, it's just putting in the work. But there's things, tips and tricks we can tell you along the way to certainly make it easier for you.
Yep.
So
there we go.
We're here for.
All righty.
Pleasure to have you on here, Zach.
Here.
Thanks for dropping in, Zach.
See you guys.
Yep.
Later. So yeah, we had like 2 questions here. We'll just address them real quick and we'll keep moving on.
Let me pull them up here. Who do you want to? You guys like texting or calling tax delinquencies more? Both.
Yeah, both.
Multi-channel marketing is going to be your best bet. If you call them and they don't answer, leave them a text, leave them a voicemail. You don't have to tell them exactly who you are. You can just say, "Hey, this is Evan. Shoot me a call back. Whenever you can." They don't know who you are. It's They're kind of curious to see who you are, why you're leaving a voicemail. So texting and calling both. I would do both for sure.
You can keep this like very simple, guys, or you can run this very advanced, like what Evan and I do. We have a strict cadence. Every, property record like this, they're going to get called, they're going to get a voicemail, they're going to get texted, and then they're ultimately going to get direct mail. They're going to get our marketing message. But here's the beauty of this, guys. You don't have to do that at that complex of a level. Like Zach was saying, when I first started out, I did probably like my first 30 deals from just driving for dollars and government lists and just cold calling them. And I did it on Google Voice for the first couple deals until I had an actual dollar. Like, keep in mind, guys, I was skip tracing on True People Search and calling on Google Voice. Like, you don't really need some of the fancy stuff sometimes. You just got to take some kind of action. But calling them first, if you don't get any kind of answer, then texting them is going to be a great strategy for you. The end goal is to always get them on the phone. How you get there doesn't matter.
Next one here. I drove for dollars, 200 to 250 on a list to skip trace. For my next trip out, should I start doing reverse driving for dollars rather than just driving for dollars and then skip tracing and cold calling? Which would you prefer? I would say that if you are out there, you can. So when I do driving for dollars, I don't typically just drive around completely because it's hard to stop and then go and then stop and go and stop and go. Yeah. I would pick an area, get out, walk. Now the wintertime is going to suck for this, but I usually pick an area and I get around, I walk around the area, I sticky note everything. I write down all the ones that I really want to reach out to. And then I go back and I call and text them also.
Right.
So that's what I would do.
So let's say if you were going out and you wanted to try to make the most out of your trip, right? And let's say, for example, you had your hands on some of these tax delinquent records already. When you go out, those records, slap a sticky note on the door. But while you're out sticky noting, any property that you see that shows some signs of distress, go ahead and tag that address as well. And once you get back to your desk, then skip trace those and call them as well. Mm-hmm. And what you can also do, just to go even a step further, is while you're out and about, all the properties that you sticky note, make sure you take note of that address to where after a period of time, if that seller doesn't call you, now you can engage via outbound marketing with them. So you can start calling them. You can start texting them. Give a period of time to see if they're going to call you. But if they don't, just start reaching out to them. So take full advantage of both opportunities every time you're out. That's going to give you the best results.
So that's what I would do. And just in my opinion, if I was out there doing driving for dollars, which amazing list, you're going to have you're going to find a lot of your best prospects on there.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving
on through these.
Yeah. Let's get back to the list here that we think that you guys need to be targeting. The next one we're going to talk about is, you guys have heard Rick say it a million times.
It's Rick's favorite.
Probates. Why are probates so good, Corey? Let them know.
So probates are extremely good. So unfortunately, in a probate, somebody has passed away. Oftentimes with probates, there's real estate involved. One thing for sure is going to happen with that house. Either one of the other family members is going to take it over and they're going to live in it, or it's going to end up being sold. Mm-hmm. It's very, very, very unlikely that it's just going to sit there empty forever. There's no real reason why that should happen. Oftentimes, these properties have mortgages on them. The heirs are having to pay those mortgages. There's property taxes that are due, utility bills. Maybe the property is, conditionally in decay. There's all kinds of things that could be going on that the heirs and administrators of these properties that's in probate, they're going to want to sell as quickly as possible. So probates are a great lead source, as well as pre-probates. So that's situations where somebody's passed away and have not opened probate. Those are good ones to look for as well. But probates, I know Rick's all-time favorites. They're really kind of one of my all-time favorites as well. Like I just love dealing with those types of records. They produce really good deals. When it comes to probates, though, it requires consistency over a little bit larger period of time. So when it comes to, if we're trying to get rolling within the next 30 days, make that first 10K, I would focus on some of the other ones first. And once I get rolling, start getting my feet wet doing some deals, then roll in the probates, because it takes a little bit more time to start having them produce. So a lot of times, even if you got a probate lead today, at minimum, you're probably going to be looking at like a 30-day close at minimum. But there's a lot more complexities that go on there behind the scenes with the probate court and all kinds of different things. Now, don't get me wrong. the property 100% can be sold inside the estate. You don't have to wait for the estate to, be closed out, but still, the same remains true. There's just a lot of intricacies there, and it can elongate the time frame to get that deal on probates.
I've done some of my biggest deals on probates.
Same here.
I've partnered up with people and they've done their biggest deals on probates. Probates are a very viable option when it comes to bigger spreads on deals, and you're actually able to help navigate and help people deal with problems.
Now, the thing with probates, guys, though, that you want to do a little bit differently than the rest of your marketing, you have to understand that in the case of a probate, somebody's passed away, and you want to approach that situation very carefully, with kindness, care, empathy. You don't want to come straight in like, well, what's got you thinking about selling the house? How much would you take for it? How soon are you looking to close? Like, don't be that guy or girl. Like, it's not about pushy, aggressive sales tactics. It's about being empathetic, showing compassion to them, trying to help them navigate through the pain that they're experiencing, being a viable resource and solution to the problems that they're facing. That's how you win with probates, is by being the person that they can count on to help them get all this resolved and help them navigate through the storm that's going on in their life right now. It's just about empathy and compassion with probates.
I think one of the best things that you can do with probates too, before you even start doing them, is learn and understand the legality process that goes into it and what the flow looks like.
Yes.
If you can come into the conversation confident, and whenever they ask you a question, you know the answer right away, they're more confident in the fact that you're going to be able to actually perform on this and help guide them through that process. And it's going to be simple.
That's
so
a huge
they're more likely to work with you majority of the time.
And by knowing how it works in detail, you can answer questions, you can engage the seller. Evan and I had a phone conversation with someone today who, she's got family members that are inheriting a property. It's kind of a messy situation. And they were asking us how, what do they do? Us being able to answer her questions with credibility and give factual answers put us up on a pedestal when it comes to, do they see us as a viable option and a viable solution to resolve this problem? We were able to answer all the questions. So it naturally builds trust with the sellers, which trust and rapport is everything when it comes to this stuff.
She thanked us like 4 times.
Yeah. So by knowing the ins and outs and being able to actively and effectively engage with these sellers and answer their questions, with fact, is going to give you a massive boost in the rapport and credibility department, which is going to put you above the rest of your competition, which is important. So when it comes to these probate records, like we have listed here, the Chancery Court or the probate court clerk is where you're going to go to get these records. What we like to do is request the records for all the estates that were opened within the last 30 days, and we will collect these probate records every 30 days. Now, whether you go online to get them or you have to call and request them and they email them to you, the same remains true. Request the records every 30 days for the previous 30 days worth of estates that were opened. Or if you want to go even a step further, you can do this weekly for all the estates that were open in the previous week. If you want to be really aggressive and you want to be the first one to contact those heirs and administrators, go weekly.
Yeah. Sometimes you're also able to access these records online through portals as well. There's certain little tips and tricks that you can use to search for these by using like decimal points and like the letters PR. You'll see in your county or your market if you're able to actually do that. But like Corey said, your best bet is to just go get them from the Chancery Court or the probate clerk.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one here. Pre-foreclosures.
These are good ones too.
I actually really enjoy doing pre-foreclosures because I always feel I'm definitely helping somebody out of a situation that could have been far worse for them.
Could have been very bad for them.
Just losing the house, but now they might be able to actually make something on the property. It doesn't look bad because they didn't get foreclosed on. So on their credit reports or anytime they go get another mortgage, they don't have that hanging over their head.
Yeah.
Again, typically if you're behind on your mortgage, you're going to have some credit marks. Being behind is a lot better than getting foreclosed on.
Way better. I mean, it gives you an opportunity when you're dealing with pre-foreclosures, just like with the tax stuff. Like if there is not a solution here, they're going to lose the property. They either have to pay and get current or sell the home. There's no in between. Maybe in some cases a bank would let them, refinance, do something tricky like that. But in most cases, once you're delinquent enough that you're in active pre-foreclosure, the only option they're going to offer to you to maintain that loan is to get current and have a current payment status again. So in pre-foreclosures, like I said, you're dealing with somebody, they're going to lose the home if you don't come in and offer a solution. So that's what we're looking for. And oftentimes you'll find maybe it's in pre-foreclosure because the owner passed away and the heir doesn't know how to navigate the situation and the property's getting ready to get foreclosed on. They can't afford to pay the mortgage. They couldn't afford to even probate it. You'll find a lot of really intricate situations with pre-foreclosures. I really like pre-foreclosures. I'll be honest, Evan.
I'll tell you this, Corey and I have dealt with this so many times. The number one thing when it comes to pre-foreclosures is the seller will stand in their own way over price.
Yes.
And let it go to foreclosure before they'll give it to you at a discount sometimes. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, wouldn't you rather sell the house and not get foreclosed on? I'm just not willing to let it go for that much.
Well, it's because
anyway.
A lot of times they are just not in tune with what's really going to happen. They think, oh, the bank will give me more time. I've got a plan. I can figure it out. I just need another 30, 40 days. Well, next thing you know, they burn all the time they have, and then they get a letter in the mail stating that their property is being auctioned in 30 days. And once it gets to that 30-day mark, it really limits the amount of people who can buy that property.
Then they might come back around and be like, oh, I'll work with you on a price now. And you're like, I don't know if I can do that price anymore. And we're really tight on time frame. I don't know if I can halt the auction.
Right.
So they limit themselves sometimes. So sometimes the best thing you can do with these people is just ask them what their plan is and let them know, like, okay, well, if your plan is to do that, and hold on to price, what's going to happen if you don't get that price? You're going to get foreclosed on.
Yeah. Sometimes these sellers, they need to be told, like, hey, just so you understand how this all works, this is what you're up against. And I don't want to see you waste time and end up with no time to resolve it.
Yeah.
So how do we go about getting the pre-foreclosure records, Evan?
Yeah, you can get them, again, from the county clerk's office or the trustee's foreclosure notice site. A lot of people actually don't know about this site here, but typically in every state, you're going to have a public notice site that you're able to access. For like Tennessee or Georgia or Texas, you're typically able to just put the abbreviated name. So it'd be like TX public notice, and then you'll search for that site. And then you'll be able to use criteria to break things down by county and then city. And then you'll be able to search for pre-foreclosures within there as well. So the foreclosure notice site is actually really good. However, it's not going to be the freshest data. The freshest is going to be from the county clerk, but it's still very good data to go get your hands on because it's only a couple days difference between when that was actually posted.
Right. So a couple different ways there. Try to get it the soonest you can. Also, another couple little ways that you can get these is by actually searching for like list pendants filings at the county clerk. That's basically the creditors saying, hey, there's a pending lawsuit and a pending foreclosure, and we are taking legal action against you, Mr. Homeowner or Mrs. Homeowner. So all kinds of different ways that you can get these records. The main thing is you need to figure out how you're going to get them, define your process for getting them, and start getting them on a regular basis. If you can get these pre-foreclosures fresh before everyone else, you're going to be ahead of the rest of the competition. People like aggressively target pre-foreclosures, but they always wait until it's like 30 days away from auction because that's when it's easy to find the record. 30 days from the auction, there's always a public notice like what Evan was talking about.
Tell them about Afton.
Yeah, so we had a property that we had captured it from another marketing method. We had it under contract already. We were closing on the property. Well, it came up to that 30 days from the auction mark. And again, we were like a week away from closing, so it didn't really matter. But it came up to that 30 days from the auction mark, so it went out in the public notice. And guess what happened? Literally the same day, guys, there was somebody knocking on her door offering to buy the property. So if you don't get these records fresh and you're going to get them from like public notice sites or the trustees sell notice, you have to act same day on those records. Same day.
Competition.
So Get them before everyone else knows about them when it's first being filed at the court, and you will beat the competition on those records.
Yeah. So let's see here. Let's move on to the next one, which is actually your water shutoffs. Actually, in my markets here, it's actually pretty funny. When I was pulling them back in Pennsylvania, nobody was really marketing or pulling these type of lists where I was.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of places.
When I reached out, they were completely confused and
bothered.
No, what
you're talking about, yeah.
They were almost bothered by me asking them for this list because nobody has done that, and I had to.
That's how you know you're onto something good there, though.
I had to tell them why I was asking for it, and then they started questioning me, like, we're not able to give that out. And then I come back, I talk to Zach and Rick, and even sometimes I talk to Corey, and I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time getting this list here. Like, I do deals around here all the time, but man, I just can't get a list. He's like, oh, tell them this. So I went back and there was like, you're pretty much required to give me this list.
You're pretty persistent, so let's just give it to you. But keep in mind, it's like they know it exists. And one thing I want to clarify on this, guys, like if this is a private water department, you're going to have like no chance at getting it.
Oh, no.
But if it's a public water department, that constitutes public record. They're going to give it to you more than likely. Now, you're going to get varying levels of pushback on all of these sources, by the way, regardless of which county or city office you're going to, which list you're trying to obtain. You're going to get varying levels of pushback. But here's the good part. The more difficult it is to get for you, that means most likely the more difficult it is for everyone else. So if you can be the one to crack the code and figure out how to get your hands on that list, you just got yourself a list of property records that you may not have any competition on whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the water shutoffs, you're going to reach out to the public water departments, and you're requesting to get from them a list of all the property records that were shut off due to non-payment. Now, why is this important? If somebody's water is shut off due to non-payment, then most likely that means that the property is vacant, because unless they're living in really, really rough conditions, there's not going to be somebody living in the property without running water. It's an essential thing to life. So typically a property on a water shutoff list, you'll often find that it's vacant, and you'll often find that it's also distressed as well. And you'll also find, back due taxes, all kinds of things on there. But it's a good indicator for potential vacancy and potential distress. Yep.
All right, let's okay, guys, at the end of this, we're also going to be answering questions. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section, and then we'll get to those at the end. But let's talk about some marketing methods that Corey and I, when we were starting and still use to reach out to records like this.
So we're getting the records. We know the ones we want to talk to, but how are we going to go about marketing to these people, Evan? What do we do?
You get the list, you clean the list up, and you start skip tracing it. And then you just, me personally, I prefer to hit the phones. I'm a cold call. I'm going to call that list through. The other half of the day, I'm going to call through that same list again. And over a couple, and then I'm just going to keep working. Say I finish this list, I'm going to move on to another list, call that one, text the previous one. I'm just going to continue to try to use every marketing attempt I can to get in contact with these people. If I can't get in contact with them on a big house that I know, this one here there is no reason that they wouldn't want to sell. I have to get in contact with them. I'll go leave a sticky note. I'll knock the neighbors. I'll do whatever it takes to get in contact with that person.
And oftentimes what you'll find too is like once you get a consistent stream of you're getting all these different records from different sources, you'll start to notice properties pop up on more than one of these lists. So let's say you got the tax link or property that also has code violations and it's on the water shutoff list. I've had that combo several times. Because here's how it works. The property was abandoned, so no one's paying the taxes. It ends up with code violations because it's distressed and the utilities were shut off. In some areas, you can get a code violation for no working utilities. I see it all the time. And that's when they come out, they pull the electric meter off, they put a lock on the water meter, the whole nine, and sometimes they even board the property up. They say it can be inhabited with no utilities. So you've got those two things there. And then, so let's see, I talked about the code violations, and you'll see it's on the water shutoff list as well. And that's what warranted the code violation. So you'll start to see duplicates across these couple list sources. And I'll tell you, anytime you're dealing with a record like that, it's on more than one of these lists, that your number one goal needs to be to talk to the heirs or the owner of that property. That is a deal waiting to happen, literally.
Another source of marketing that we use to get in touch with those more hard to get in touch with people that don't answer their phone, they don't respond to text, they might live somewhere else. If they live somewhere else, I will send them a piece of mail.
Yeah.
And with the hopes that they get back to me. If they don't, then you have pretty much exhausted every single marketing method that you could. So try to rehash them later on in hopes that you're able to get in touch with them again.
Right.
But at this point, if you called them, you text them, you left a sticky note, and you sent them a piece of mail, they're exhausted. You can work them again down the road. Don't spend too much time, on people if you've literally exhausted every option. So we showed you guys about all those tax delinquent lists, all those
all the different type of people that truly need to sell that we need to deal with.
But let's talk about if it's a little bit harder for you to access those lists. However, I would really want you to actually go out there and get those ones. But let's say that those aren't as easily accessible. How can you actually build more lists to market to aside from GovList?
Right. So some good records that we can dive into right away.
Yeah. So what that's going to look like is you can access via paid list using a software like xleads.com to go on here and use filters to niche down maybe a high equity absentee owner list or, absentee and or owner occupied where they've owned it for 5 years or more. There's a million different ways to filter down properties, but the next best way for you to pull a list and reach out to people who would have a likely chance of, selling the property is through paid list. So
keep in mind, guys, here's a little secret for you. Like we have X leads on here as the paid list. Like if you're going to go on there, you're going to get X leads, depending on the plan, you can get 10 to 60,000 records a month. Skip traced, by the way, like that's crazy. I wish I had that when I started out. But what you also can do in there is, let's say if you can't get some of these government lists we're telling you to get, you can pull quite a bit of them in X leads. Like you can get tax delinquents on there. You can get your vacants. You can get your pre-foreclosures. You can get your potentially inherited property or your probate properties. Like you can pull all of that on there. The freshest source to get it from is always going to be the county. But if you can't get it from the city or the county, just get them on X leads. You're still marketing to those types of prospects. I mean, it's really good.
And what is something that Corey and I did many of our first deals on? Driving for dollars. Literally driving for dollars.
Old Faithful driving for dollars.
I firmly believe that if you can go out here and put eyes on the property, in person is, there's virtual and driving for dollars. But if you're local, if you can go out here and put eyes on the property and it's distressed and you can try to contact those people, those are going to be your best ones because you can obviously go to the appointment in person and you've seen the property, it's distressed, there's issues. Those are going to be your best ones. Now, virtually, if you're doing driving for dollars virtually, and everybody always says, well, the pictures are dated. I'm not going to do it. I don't care about the pictures because if the property looked like that in this year, you can look up the property on XLeads or Zillow or something like that to see, okay, here's the time the picture was taken. Has there been any mortgages taken out against this property or has it sold since then? And if it hasn't had any of those things, it's likely in the same condition as it was. Right. And if it hasn't transferred ownership either, that's a key indicator it's the same condition.
I mean, think about this, guys. Like if you're looking on Google Street View, which is like if you're going to virtual drive for dollars, just get on Street View and start clicking around and looking. It tells you usually in the upper left-hand corner the date of that image.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say for this example, you're looking at a house. It looks like it's completely abandoned, just like, really rough. Or maybe even it looks like it's lived in, but it definitely is in need of repairs. And let's say that image is from 2022. And you look it up, and whoever owned it in 2022, they still own it today. It has not been sold or conveyed during that period of time. And like Evan said, there was no new mortgages taken out. What can we conclude from that right there? Well, unless that owner had a large influx of cash to fix that property up, they haven't sold it and there hasn't been any new mortgages. So most likely that property is still in the same condition today because there has not been an infusion of cash to correct that issue there.
And if it's sitting there that long, why else? They're obviously not going to do anything with it. They haven't done anything with it up to date.
Certainly hasn't gotten any better in the condition department over the last 3 years.
They're going to sell it. It doesn't make any sense not to sell it. It's a depreciating asset at that point because the condition's just going to keep getting worse and worse, even if they're holding on to it for appreciation. That's not how it's going to work when the house is dang near needing tore down in 5 years.
You can get like really good information from just virtual. So let's say like you wanted to do this as a strategy, and I actually think this is a good idea. It's like you're going to go and you're going to virtually drive for dollars, and you're going to identify like houses that you're like, man, I would really like to place a sticky note on that one. You can go ahead and tag that address too to cold call later, but you can build out your reverse driving for dollars list just on Google Street View. Then you go out the next day, you place all those sticky notes, but while you're out placing those sticky notes, you tag another 200, 300 properties while you're driving for dollars. You come back from that, you've got a large amount of properties that are tagged and ready for you to then go out here and call. But you also just put a bunch of sticky notes out on properties that you already knew were distressed, and you can wait on them to call you. So that's a double whammy right there. Inbound and outbound marketing. That's going to work very well for you. That's
now let's move on.
Calls and leads almost immediately.
Let's move on to a way to get some inbound leads that people don't talk about anymore that I used when I was first starting, and it brought a ton of leads, and I went on a ton of appointments and did some deals on. And it was really popular, like, maybe 2 years ago, and it's drifted off, which means maybe not that many people are doing it anymore, which would be a good time for you to get back into it, is digital bandit signs.
Yeah.
Don't
Zach
sleep
and
on
Rick
these.
have been preaching digital bandit signs to you guys for quite some time now, but I'm telling you right now, digital bandit signs work. I promise you. Done countless deals from them.
I've gotten so many leads from these, I can't even think straight. But when I first started wholesaling, I was using digital bandit signs. There were, there's certain things you say, just being fully transparent, straightforward. Are you looking to sell, is anybody looking to sell the property, in the area I'm looking to buy?
Yeah.
Do not sleep on these. People quit doing them. Like the markets, like the Facebook groups that you're in, not that many people are using this strategy anymore. So
Listen,
it's
guys,
a good
I'll
time
tell
to
you
get
right
back
now,
into it.
I did a $64,000 deal off of a digital bandit sign.
Yep.
And like, that was an easy lead. So easy. They knew that they had to sell the property. They knew what they were looking to get for it. It was just nice and clean and easy. And all it took to capture that lead was a post saying, I'm looking to buy some more houses for cash. Who has one that they're thinking about selling? I'll buy as is, any condition. That was the ad copy on that post.
Yeah.
Went to Facebook group, made a discussion tab, nice background, posted it. You can do the same thing with Craigslist. There's all kinds of ways that you can do these digital bandit signs, but when you make that, you put that message in front of however many people the algorithm is willing to show it to.
Yeah.
Which is really powerful.
If you think about it, I've been reached out to from wholesalers on my Craigslist post that thought I was a buyer. So
yeah.
You'll have,
and that's the funnel for potential JV deals as well. Cause
if you think about
if they're looking to call buyers, that means they're trying to move a deal. Well, if they call you, maybe a buyer who will buy the deal. You just got yourself a JV deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what do you guys now do with all this information that Corey and I just vomited on you? The best thing for you guys to go out here and start doing is taking massive, consistent action daily. You've had Zach and you've had Rick throw this down your throat every single time that I was second guessing whether or not this business was going to work for me. I just said exactly what Zach said on the call. Am I putting in the amount of work that it's going to take for me to get this deal? And if I didn't think so, I was going to put in the work. It sucked. It dragged on, but you have to do it. If you're not willing to do the work that it takes, it's not going to happen for you.
And listen, everybody, it's not about being a perfectionist. Like, you don't have to be as skilled as Evan and I to make this a reality for you. It doesn't take perfect action every day. And that's what I see a lot of people struggle with. They get stuck in analysis paralysis because they feel like they can't start taking the action until they understand every angle and facet of the action that they're about to take. Well, imperfect action beats no action 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And sometimes the only thing standing in the way between you and your first or next deal is yourself and your lack of action. You have to take massive action every day, but it's not about being a perfectionist. Instead, just try to be 1% better every day than you were the day before. Just don't compare yourself to Evan and I or Zach and Rick or the other gurus out there, other YouTube influencers, other big time wholesalers in your market. Don't compare yourself to us or them. Compare yourself to yourself. Am I 1% better today than I was yesterday? Did I have better seller conversations today than yesterday? If you continue to make that your goal every day, you have continuous improvement. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it takes massive action. You have to be willing to outwork everybody else in your market. All your competition, who cares? Outwork them. Put in the work when it's hard. The people who make it in this business are the ones who are willing to do the work, take the action every day, even when it's not all fun and sexy. Because I'll be honest, sometimes it's not.
You have to know your why.
Know your
why
why.
you're doing it. What is this going to do for you? And really dive into that deep so that you can push through that. Because if you don't have a big reason why you're doing it, you're just going to be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah.
But for myself, not only did I have to prove my family wrong that doubted me like through and through and prove everybody else wrong, but I also had something to prove to myself that I could actually do this. And if I didn't, I was going to be stuck doing something the rest of my life that I didn't actually want to be doing.
Yep.
Now, on Corey's case, he has his wife and children. If he didn't take the action that it took, he was not willing to let his kids go without.
Yeah. Very strong why. So like there was times whenever I was starting out that it wasn't easy. And I had to remind myself of what my why was and buckle down and put in the work, put in the late nights, have the early mornings, take the imperfect action every day and just do the work. Even on the days that, let's face it, guys, sometimes I didn't want to. Sometimes it was easier to just say, oh, it's Saturday, I'm tired. I think I'm going to sleep in today and just kind of hang out. No, to heck with that. We're getting up. We're going driving for dollars. We're going to tag about 300 properties today, and we're going to come back and we're going to cold call. That's what it takes. Sometimes you just got to do the work, guys. I mean, that's all it is to it. You just got to do the work.
Do the work now.
Excuses are invalid in most cases. I'll be honest.
Do the work now. Make the sacrifices now so that yourself in 5 years will thank you.
Yes.
Sacrifice today's comforts for down the road so that you can be comfortable then.
Yep.
So that's what we have to tell you guys here. That's how we think you're going to go out here and make $10,000 in the next 30 days if you hunker down and you really just drive that pedal to the floor. That's how you're going to do it. Corey and I are going to open this up to questions now. We're going to go through. We've had some questions throughout this whole live stream here. So we're going to get to those. But yes, make sure you're going out here and taking that massive action. Make sure you have a solid why. Do it for you. Do it for your family. You won't regret it. I promise you it can happen. You have to really think to yourself that you are – I used to tell myself this all the time. I am deserving as long as I put the work in. It can happen for me. You look at everybody else, they got lucky, or, that would just never happen for me. My life couldn't be that way. Yes, it can. Don't give yourself excuses. Just keep driving forward. So we got some questions over here, Corey.
All righty, questions. Drop your questions in the chat, everybody. We're going to help you out here. So let's see. We answered the first two. Okay.
Said, I'd received a probate list from my county, and I had got a full year to most recent dater of open and closed. Are they all worthy of taking a look at, or ones past a certain time frame can't or aren't worthy? No, probates, you can look into probates because you have cases where, yeah, it did go through probate. The heirs now own the estate, or own the properties, or maybe it got
may not have sold
this person or that person.
We just did a deal like a couple months ago that they probated that estate over a year ago, and the house has just been sitting there empty since then because none of the heirs could agree on anything.
Yeah.
So the main thing is, like, if that's an older probate record and that estate is then closed at that point, has the real estate been sold? If the real estate has not been sold, then maybe it's a case of one of those heirs took title to it and moved into it and is living in it. Now, you got to look into the situations and see what's going on. But don't just completely discard them because it's more than 30 days old. Anything 6 months and newer is most likely those estates are all still open. But even if it's older than 6 months, look into it, find what's going on, figure that out. Is the real estate still owned by the decedent's estate or the family? you'll still find properties in there that you can do deals on. It's just going to take you a little bit of, investigative work to look through them. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're still going to run into the situations where maybe the family never really came to an agreement throughout the whole probate process. Now the probate's through, after time, people are like, okay, what are we really going to do with the property now? And you could still reach out to them and they might be looking to sell it, even after probate was completely finished. So keep that in mind. It's not always the case. Sometimes you might run into issues where it's just not a good lead or just they're not interested, but you're going to have that in any marketing strategy on any list. Now, this next one's going to be a really good question for Corey because this is where he shines.
Oh boy.
Is there someone specific we look for in the list pendants? Like, say, X versus Joe Smith.
So it's usually going to be the second party being listed is the one who's being sued. So you'll see First Community Bank versus Joe Smith. Well, that's the bank suing Joe Smith, most likely for an unpaid mortgage or something like that. So it's always going to usually be the second party in most cases.
And as you're looking through the paragraph, somewhere down the line, it will state a key word somewhere. I've seen it time and time again when I pull them. It might say foreclosure or something like that into the lawsuit due to missed payments on subject house. It will give you some details.
Document. It'll tell you what's going on in there. And oftentimes what you'll see, I've seen this several times as well. Say maybe you have a bank that's going to be foreclosing on somebody and they have an FHA loan. You'll oftentimes see HUD join that lawsuit as well because it's the government-backed loan.
Yep.
So, and the people they're suing, those are the people that unfortunately have landed themselves financially in hot water, and they need your help.
Yeah.
So we need to be questions, tracing them and marketing to them.
If you guys have questions, drop them now because we're running out of them here. Next one is any tips virtual in Columbus, Ohio. I can't even tell you how many virtual deals I've done.
Columbus is a good market.
Yeah, so Columbus is actually a very good market for you to go out here and do deals in. I would say for virtual inside of Columbus, Ohio, this is going to go for pretty much any virtual market. But the things that you need to be doing when you're virtual is making sure you're able to obtain the absolute most information over the phone with the seller, because the more obviously knowledge is power. You're able to leverage knowledge. The more you know about the house is going to be good for you to let you know, okay, if they told me it needs this amount of work, I can judge it needs this amount in repair costs, but I'm always going to assume that's a little bit higher without seeing it. You can also send out bird dogs to go look at the property. There's a ton of things that you could do for virtual, but as far as overall tips go, get as much information over the phone. See if they're able to send you photos. If they're not able to send you photos, try to see if you can get a bird dog to go out there. You can source these on Facebook, or there's actually some sites that you could go to. Just make sure they're viable and trustworthy. Make sure you're vetting people out before you go over there, maybe sending some disclosures. And some of the things that you could do to make it feel like you have a local presence there is when you're on the phone with the seller, you say, hey, let's set up an appointment for me to come out there and take a look at it. I'd like to see if I can, help you out here. When's a good time for me to meet you out there? And then when you set the appointment, you can say, okay, I think me and my partner can make that work. One of us will be out there, depending on what the time frame changes from here to there. I might be able to make it. He might be able to make it. One of us will meet you out at the property. If anything changes, I'll let you know. That makes it seem like, okay, you're trying to make it to the appointment.
Yeah.
Makes it give you a local presence, but then your partner goes out there.
I mean, perfect example, leverage the community. I mean, you got right here in the comments, you got Juan reaching out saying, Paul, reach out to me. He's branching into the Columbus market. It's Juan inside of M2M. Reach out to him, network with the community and leverage them. It's like, hey, if you're willing to market, and that's a virtual market, but if you can get somebody credible in that market to be your boots on the ground, you guys can do a lot of damage there. Columbus is a great market. Start getting your government list, do some virtual driving for dollars, start doing some bulk marketing there. Like, it's a great market. There's plenty of deals to go around there. It just takes consistency to beat out some of the competition that's going to be in Columbus.
Yep. Here's a prime example of what Corey just said.
When it comes to the list pendants.
When it comes to the list pendants, it says party is looking to foreclose on the lien.
So they're looking to foreclose on that first lien position mortgage. Most likely, they're going to foreclose on that property.
He also just asked this question. Have you guys run into the county wanting to charge for each lien record?
They want $105 per record.
That is absolutely crazy for public data.
So I do have some counties and some areas that have wanted to charge before for records, but they charge when they have to spend time to compile and put it into a list format to send to me. And hey, here's the thing. If they want to charge me 50, 60 bucks to send me a list of all the properties that are tax delinquent, who do I pay? Give me the pay link. I'll pay it right now. I just want the list. Some of them will, but that right there, $105 per record, that's absolutely insane.
That's ridiculous.
Like are they legally, can they even do that? That would be my question.
But all right, guys, that's all the questions we have in here for tonight. Again, if you guys are really looking to get started, my recommendation would be to head over to freewholesaling.com. Zach and Rick Ginn have put together an amazing free community and course for you guys. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more one-on-one, we're able to access more community calls that we have 3 times a week. We're able to message us inside of the school community personally, where we have a bunch of more content inside of there. Please feel free to jump on in and join the M2M community. Everybody inside the M2M community is loving it. People are doing deals. We make constant win posts. We're out here helping you guys get those deals that you otherwise thought you weren't able to. So make sure you guys click in, at least check it out, see if it's going to be a good fit for you. If not, again, freewholesaling.com is a very viable and great community to be in, especially for the material that Zach and Rick give away for absolutely free.
Priceless value, guys.
Priceless value. So with that being said, again, I'm Evan.
I'm Corey.
If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. And
Hit the subscribe button.
We will see you guys next time.
See you guys.